They handed him a worthless, alien bride as a punishment. She was anything but the chamber stank of recycled air and alien incense. Commander Alex Rivera stood at attention before the Vixari High Council, his uniform still bearing scorch marks from the battle that had brought him here. 3 months ago, he disobeyed direct orders from the Galactic Concordat to save a colony world. 2,000 human civilians lived because of his choice. The Council, predictably, cared more about protocol than lives. The lead counselor, a creature whose chitinous plates gleamed like polished obsidian, clicked his mandibles in what Alex had learned to recognize as smug satisfaction. Commander Rivera, your insubordination has created a diplomatic crisis. However, your species' recent admission to the Concordat prevents us from imposing traditional penalties. Alex said nothing. He'd known this was coming. Therefore, the counselor continued, we have devised an alternative punishment, one that satisfies both honor and law. A pause theatrical. You will be bonded to a Velkari female, immediately. The other human officers in the observation gallery stirred. Alex felt his jaw tighten. The Velkari were one of the Concordat's founding species, massive, apex predators whose culture revolved around genetic perfection and martial prowess. A human Velkari bonding was unheard of. Such unions required ritual compatibility, genetic screening, and years of negotiation. Which matriarch's daughter? Alex asked carefully. The counselor's mandibles spread wider. No daughter of any matriarch. The female is Cormira, 9th caste, unbonded, unbondable, and unworthy of her species' legacy. She has been rejected by 17 potential mates. Her genetic markers are flawed. You will take responsibility for her maintenance and conduct. Should she cause incident, you will face consequences. Should you refuse, your command will be stripped, and you will be expelled from Concordat space. The trap was elegant. Accept a worthless, alien bride as public humiliation, or lose everything and abandon humanity's tenuous foothold in galactic politics. The Council knew humans needed the Concordat more than the Concordat needed humans. Alex met the counselor's multifaceted eyes. When? Now. The bonding chamber was private at least. Small mercy. Alex stood beside a Velkari priest whose translator rendered his ritualistic hissing into monotone Federation standard. The words washed over him, ancient vows, genetic obligations, honor contracts. None of it mattered. This was theater designed to break him. Then she entered. Cormira was massive. Even by Velkari standards, she towered, easily 9 feet tall, her digitigrade legs ending in talons that clicked against the metal floor. Her scales were a deep charcoal gray, unusual for her species, whose elite warriors bore crimson or gold. Her eyes, triple-pupilled and luminous amber, fixed on him with an intensity that made his combat instincts flare. She wore minimal armor, just enough to satisfy modesty by Velkari standards. Her musculature was evident, coiled, powerful, built for violence. A long tail, thick as his torso, moved behind her with restrained tension. Her head crest, which should have been vibrant with genetic pride, lay flat against her skull in what he recognized as submission or shame. The priest continued the ceremony. Neither Alex nor Cormira spoke. When prompted, they each placed their hand and claw upon the gene-binding tablet. It pricked them, sampled, analyzed, and sealed the union in Concordat law. Irreversible without council dispensation. The bond is witnessed, the priest intoned. Cormira of the 9th caste is now ward and mate to Commander Alex Rivera of Terra. May your genetic lines endure or perish together. The priest left. They were alone. For a long moment neither moved. Alex studied her. Every line of her body language screamed defensive aggression, a predator cornered expecting violence. Her claws flexed. Her tail lashed once. Can you understand me? Alex asked in standard. Her voice was deep, resonant with a growling undertone. Yes, I speak your inferior language. Good. Then understand this. I didn't choose this any more than you did. But we're bonded now and I need to know what I'm working with. Why are you unbondable? Her amber eyes narrowed. You dare? I dare ask my bonded mate a direct question. Yes, I'm not Velkari. I don't play your status games. If we're going to survive whatever fresh hell the council has planned for us, I need information. Cormira's crest rose slightly, surprise maybe. You are direct for prey. Humans aren't prey. Your species fights with projectiles from a distance and dies when clawed. Prey. Alex smiled without humor. We also crack planets with gravity weapons and turned our own sun into a navigation beacon. Underestimate us at your convenience. Something shifted in her posture, not quite respect but recalibration. I am unbondable because my genetic sequence carries a deviation. My scales are wrong. My combat pheromones are wrong. I am too large, too aggressive, too much of what my people prize, yet still wrong. 17 mates rejected me. Their genetic screens flagged me as incompatible with the Velkari ideal. The council called you ninth caste. There are only 8 castes. Her tail slammed against the floor. I am beneath even the laborers. I exist as warning, a reminder that even the Velkari can produce imperfection. Alex processed this. So they gave you to me to humiliate us both. Yes. Well. He rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of the gene bond already, a strange, insistent awareness at the base of his skull that told him exactly where she was in the room. I've faced worse. You have quarters assigned. I am to reside with you. Bonded mates must cohabitate for the first cycle to ensure genetic compatibility. Of course they were. Alex gestured toward the door. Let's go. I need food, you probably need whatever Velkari eat, and then we need to figure out how to make this work. She stared at him. You are not disgusted. By what? Your scales are the wrong color. Cormira, I once saw a man survive a hull breach by stuffing his own intestines back in and sealing the wound with a plasma torch. I'm hard to disgust. Come on. For the first time her crest rose fully, a magnificent fan of darker gray spines. Confusion, maybe, or the beginning of something else. The quarters assigned to them were standard officer accommodation, modified hastily to account for Velkari dimensions. The ceiling was high enough that Cormira didn't need to crouch. Barely, the sleeping platform was human-sized. She stared at it. I will require a proper rest cradle. File a requisition. Until then, the floor's reinforced. You'll manage. Alex dropped his kit and headed for the food processor. Nutritional requirements. She followed, her movements eerily quiet for something so large. High protein, trace minerals. I am capable of consuming most protein sources. He programmed 2 meals, a standard human ration for himself, and pulled up the Velkari nutrition database. Her requirements were staggering. She needed nearly 6,000 calories a day. He maximized the protein output and handed her the tray. She took it with surprising care, her claws avoiding his fingers. You feed me. We're bonded. Apparently that makes you my responsibility. I take care of my people. I am not your people. I am your punishment. Alex sat, tearing into his own rations. You're a person who got screwed over by a political game, same as me. If the council wanted to punish me, they should have tried harder. I've been through worse than an awkward roommate situation. Cormira ate in silence, but he felt her watching him. The gene bond hummed at the edge of his awareness, feeding him emotional data he didn't fully understand yet. Confusion. Wariness, something that might have been hope, quickly suppressed. Why did you disobey orders? She asked finally. 2,000 civilians were going to die. The council wanted to negotiate. Negotiation takes time they didn't have. You violated protocol to save prey species. I violated protocol to save people. There's a difference. Her tail curled around her feet. The Velkari would have let them die. Preservation of the strong is paramount. Yeah, well, humans have a different approach. We're persistence hunters. We don't pick off the weak. We chase down everything until it collapses. And we protect our own because strength comes from the pack, not the individual. Pack, she repeated slowly. You consider me pack? Alex met her eyes. I don't know yet, but I'm willing to find out. Her crest flared again. This time he thought it might be something like respect. The first week was tense. Cormira moved through the quarters like a caged predator, radiating barely controlled aggression. She spoke little. Alex gave her space, focused on his reassignment duties. The council had stripped his command but kept him on as a tactical consultant, a deliberately humiliating demotion. They fell into a rhythm. Alex woke early, trained in the combat simulators. Cormira hunted in the station's designated zones. The council permitted Velkari to hunt live prey as cultural accommodation. They ate separately, spoke minimally. The gene bond fed him flashes of her emotional state, frustration, shame, anger that had nowhere to go. On the 8th day, she returned from a hunt with claw marks across her shoulder. Alex looked up from his tactical reports. "What happened? Nothing that concerns you. You're bleeding, it concerns me." He grabbed the medical kit. "Sit." She stiffened. "I do not require." "Sit, Cormira, that's not a suggestion." Her eyes flashed. For a moment he thought she might attack. Then slowly she lowered herself to the reinforced floor. Alex approached carefully, reading her body language, still tense but allowing proximity. The wounds were deep, 4 parallel gashes from another Velkari's claws. Who did this? A male, 5th caste. He said, "I pollute the hunting grounds with my presence." Alex began cleaning the wounds. Her scales were incredibly tough, but the tissue beneath was vulnerable. "Did you report it?" "To whom?" "The council who gave me to you, the matriarchs who declared me flawed." Her laugh was bitter. "I am 9th caste. I have no recourse." Alex worked in silence, applying the medical gel. Her body heat was intense this close, her breathing deep and controlled. The gene bond suddenly sharpened, feeding him a spike of pain, not physical but something deeper. Loneliness. Years of rejection crystallized into a single, aching wound. "The next time someone puts claws on you," Alex said quietly, "you tell me, immediately. Why? You are human, weak. What would you do against a Velkari warrior?" Alex finished bandaging and met her eyes. "I've killed 3 Velkari in combat, pirates during the border skirmishes. Your species is fast, strong, and overconfident. That overconfidence is a weakness. I exploit weaknesses." Her pupils dilated. "You have killed my kind." "I've killed anything that threatened my crew. Species doesn't matter, threat assessment does." She stared at him for a long time. Then impossibly she lowered her head, a gesture of submission he'd never seen from a Velkari. "You are not what I expected. Neither are you." The attack came 3 weeks into their bonding. Alex was reviewing supply manifests when the station's alarm screamed. Proximity alert. Hostile vessels. He pulled up tactical, 6 unmarked raiders, configuration suggesting Krivok's mercenaries. They were burning hard for the station. His comm chirped. "All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Cormira appeared from the hunting deck, her armor half donned. "We are under attack." "Looks like it. Get to the civilian shelters." Her crest flared in offense. "I am Velkari. I do not hide. You're unbonded to anyone with command authority except me, and I'm ordering you to the shelters." "I refuse." The station shuddered as the first missile impacts hit the outer shields. Alex grabbed his combat rifle from the weapons locker. "Cormira, I don't have time to argue." "Then do not argue. I am coming with you." He turned to find her fully armored now, her claws extended, her body radiating combat readiness. The gene bond was feeding him her emotional state, absolute certainty, battle hunger, and something else. Protectiveness. Of him. "Can you follow orders in combat?" he demanded. "Can you keep pace with me?" Alex smiled grimly. "Let's find out." They moved through the corridors at a run. The station's security forces were already engaging. Alex could hear weapons fire from the primary docking bay. His tactical overlay showed the raiders were attempting a boarding action. Bold, stupid, or desperate. Maybe all 3. They reached the bay's upper observation deck. Below, 12 Krivok's warriors in powered armor were cutting through the security teams with brutal efficiency. Krivoks were smaller than Velkari but vicious, six-limbed, chitinous, and heavily augmented. They're trying to reach the command center, Alex assessed. Probably a decapitation strike. Someone paid them well. They die regardless. Cormira's voice was pure predator. Agreed. Here's the plan. You draw their attention. I'll flank and remove their heavy weapons operator. When I give the signal, she leapt over the railing. Alex swore and opened fire, tagging two Krivoks with precision bursts to the gaps in their armor. Cormira hit the deck like a meteor, her claws ripping through the nearest raider's power pack. Sparks flew. The Krivoks shrieked and went down. The others turned to engage her. She was magnificent, a whirlwind of claws and tail, moving with impossible grace for something her size. But there were too many and they had ranged weapons. Alex moved. He dropped from the observation deck using a rappel line, hit the ground rolling and came up firing. Controlled bursts. Headshots where possible. Two more raiders dropped. The heavy weapons operator swung his cannon toward Alex. Cormira's tail caught him across the midsection, folding him in half. They moved together without planning it, Alex providing covering fire while Cormira closed distance. She was a living weapon, but she was also smart. She used cover, drew fire away from Alex, set up kills for him. The gene bond was humming, feeding them each other's tactical awareness. He knew where she'd move before she moved. She anticipated his firing solutions. The last Krivoks tried to flee. Cormira ran him down and ended it with a claw through his helmet. Silence fell. The bay was a wreck of bodies and burning equipment. Alex swept the area, rifle up, breathing hard. Clear. Cormira stood amid the carnage, her armor splattered with alien blood, her amber eyes luminous. You fight well, for prey. You fight like you've done this before. I have. My caste status does not erase my training. I was meant to be a warrior before my defect was discovered. Station security arrived then, led by a Vixari officer who surveyed the carnage with evident shock. Commander Rivera, you engaged the raiders. Someone had to get medical teams here and sweep the station. This was too coordinated to be random. The officer's mandibles clicked nervously. And the Velkari female, Cormira, my mate, she saved this station. The word mate felt strange in his mouth, but the gene bond pulsed with approval. Cormira's crest rose fully, and for the first time since he'd met her, she looked proud. The investigation revealed what Alex had suspected. The raid was contracted by a Velkari noble house. Not to kill him specifically, but to create chaos. Political violence designed to discredit humanity's military competence. That Cormira had helped stop it was an embarrassment the Velkari High Command tried to suppress. They failed. Within days, combat footage leaked across Concordat networks. Humans loved it. Their disgraced commander and his worthless mate defending a station against overwhelming odds. The Velkari response was more complex. Officially, silence. Unofficially, Alex started receiving death threats from conservative noble houses. Cormira found him reading them on his data slate. They wish me to die with you. Seems like it. This does not concern you. Alex set the slate aside. I've been threatened by better. What concerns me is that they're targeting you through me. That's tactically stupid. Makes me think there's something about you they're afraid of. Her crest flattened. I am nothing. A genetic mistake. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Alex pulled up a file he'd been compiling. I did some research, reached out to some xenobiologists. Your genetic deviation, it's not a flaw, it's atavism. I do not understand. You're a throwback. Your genome expresses traits from ancient Velkari lineages, before your species underwent genetic standardization. The dark scales, the increased size, the wrong pheromones. You're what your species used to be before they started engineering themselves for genetic purity. Cormira stared at the data. That cannot be. It's why you're unbondable to modern Velkari. Your genome is too different. But to humans, Alex smiled. The gene bond doesn't care about purity. It cares about compatibility. and according to the bonding tablet's deep scan, we're extremely compatible, more compatible than most human pairings. She was silent for a long moment. They knew, the council, they bonded me to you knowing I would be viable. They thought they were humiliating us both. Instead, they created something they can't control. A human Valkyrie bond that actually works. That's dangerous to their worldview. So we are, what? An accident that threatens the order. We're proof that their system is fragile, and people kill to protect fragile systems. Cormira moved closer, her massive form somehow gentle. You have given this much thought. I think about threats, it's what I do. And am I a threat, Alex Rivera? He looked up at her. The gene bond hummed between them, warm and certain. No, you're the most dangerous ally I've ever had. Her crest flared full and vibrant. Then she did something he'd never seen a Valkyrie do. She knelt, bringing her eyes level with his. I choose this bond, not because I was assigned to it. I choose you. The words hit him harder than he expected. Cormira, the Valkyrie believe mates are assigned by genetic compatibility and social status. But you have shown me another way. Choice, free will, very human concepts. Her claw, impossibly gentle, traced the edge of his jaw. So I choose, do you? Alex placed his hand against her scaled cheek. The gene bond flared and he felt her fully for the first time, not the shame or anger but the core of who she was, fierce, loyal, burning with potential that had been suppressed her entire life. Yeah, he said quietly, I choose you too. She leaned forward and their foreheads touched. The gesture was instinctive, transcending species. For a moment they simply existed together, two rejected pieces finding alignment. Then the station's alarm screamed again. This time it wasn't raiders. It was a Valkyrie battlecruiser, broadcasting on all channels. This is Matriarch Sevrana of House Corvalix. I am here to retrieve my bloodline's shame. Surrender the defective female, or this station will be classified as harboring Valkyrie fugitives. Alex and Cormira stood in the command center, watching the massive warship hold position just outside firing range. The station commander, a nervous Thixari named Kilthar, was practically vibrating with panic. We must comply, Kilthar clicked. The Valkyrie are a Concordat founder species. We cannot risk conflict. She's legally bonded to me, Alex said. Concordat law protects bonded mates from separation without cause. Her own matriarch disowned her. She has no legal claim. Cormira's voice was hollow. Sevrana is my gene mother. She cast me out when I was declared unbondable. Why would she come now? Alex studied the tactical display. Because you're not worthless anymore. You're bonded to a human, you're a combat-proven defender, and you're getting famous across Concordat space. You're a political asset now. So she wishes to reclaim me. Or kill you. Hard to tell with Valkyrie politics. The comm crackled. Sevrana's voice was imperious, designed to command obedience. Cormira, I know you received this. Your bonding to the human was a mistake I am prepared to overlook. Return to House Corvalix. You will be re-evaluated for proper placement. Cormira's claws extended. Every line of her body screamed violence. She offers me evaluation, after declaring me beneath notice. Alex touched her arm. What do you want to do? I want to tear her throat out. Valid but not practical right now. That ship outguns this station 50-1. Then what do you suggest? Alex smiled coldly. We negotiate from strength. He opened a channel. Matriarch Sevrana, this is Commander Alex Rivera, bonded mate to Cormira. I'm afraid your request is denied. She's Concordat bonded under legal protection. Any attempt to separate us will be considered an act of aggression against Terra and its citizens. Silence. Then, you dare invoke legal protection. You are a disgraced officer with no authority. I'm a Concordat citizen with a legally recognized bond. And Terra, despite being new to the Concordat, takes the protection of its citizens very seriously. You might want to check recent diplomatic dispatches. More silence. Alex knew his gambit was thin. Terra was still negotiating its position in the Concordat, but he also knew the Velkari valued propriety and protocol. They wouldn't risk an incident without certainty. Kilthar's mandibles clicked frantically. "Commander, what are you doing?" "Buying time. Get me a direct line to the Terran diplomatic corps. Now." Sevrana's voice returned colder. "Your species is barely civilized. You have no understanding of Velkari genetic imperatives. Cormira belongs to her bloodline. Cormira belongs to herself. Novel concept, I know. I will not warn you again, human. Surrender her or face consequences." Alex cut the channel and turned to Cormira. "How much do you trust me?" "With my life. But Alex, she has a battle cruiser. Even if Terra supports us, they are weeks away. I don't need Terra's fleet. I need their lawyers." He brought up the Concordat Charter on the command center's main display. The Concordat was founded on genetic purity and species segregation, right? Each species maintains its own genetic sovereignty. Yes, it is fundamental law. Then by their own law, Cormira, you're not Velkari. She recoiled. "What? Your genome is atavistic. You're genetically distinct from modern Velkari. You said it yourself, unbondable to your species. But you bonded to me perfectly. According to Concordat genetic classification protocols, you're a variant, a new expression. Technically, you're the first of a new subspecies." Kilthar made a strangled sound. "Commander, that would mean she's under Terran protection as my mate. And any claim Sevrana has is void because Cormira isn't part of the Velkari genetic pool anymore. She's something new." Cormira stared at him. "That is insane. It's also legally defensible. The Concordat's own genetic screening protocols classified you as incompatible with Velkari breeding. You're not Velkari by their own standards. You're Cormira, unique, and bonded to me. They will never accept this. They don't have to accept it. They just have to not risk an incident over it." Alex reopened the channel. "Matriarch Sevrana, I've reviewed the relevant Concordat law. Cormira was declared unbondable to Velkari by your own genetic councils. By definition, that excludes her from Velkari genetic sovereignty. She's legally autonomous. Your claim is void." The silence stretched longer this time. Alex could almost feel Sevrana's rage across the void. "You twist words, human. I cite law. If you dispute my interpretation, file a formal challenge with the Concordat Legal Council. Until then, Cormira stays with me. This is not over. I didn't think it would be." The channel died. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then slowly the battle cruiser began to withdraw. Not far, just beyond the station's defensive range. A statement, "We're watching." Kilthar collapsed into his command chair. I do not have words." Alex turned to Cormira. She was staring at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "You just declared me a new species. I declared you free. The Velkari will never forgive this. House Corvalix will hunt us both. Let them try." Alex reached out and she took his hand, her massive claw gentle around his fingers. "You said you chose me. I'm choosing to fight for that choice, for us." Her crest rose, full and proud and beautiful. "Then we face what comes together." "Together," Alex agreed. The gene bond hummed between them, warm and certain and utterly unbreakable. The political fallout was immediate and catastrophic. The Velkari High Command demanded Alex be stripped of all protections and Cormira be returned for proper genetic evaluation. Terra's diplomatic corps, sensing an opportunity to establish precedent, backed Alex with surprising ferocity. The Concordat Council, caught between a founder species and an upstart newcomer, called for formal hearings. Alex and Cormira were summoned to the Concordat's central governance station, a massive ring-world structure where species representatives gathered to negotiate the galaxy's fate. They arrived under escort, walking through corridors designed for beings far larger than humans. Cormira moved beside him, her presence both protective and comforting. The gene bond had deepened over the weeks. Alex could feel her emotions more clearly now. The steady confidence, the underlying current of fear she refused to voice. And she could feel him. His tactical awareness, his absolute certainty in their cause, his growing affection that neither of them had acknowledged aloud. The hearing chamber was vast. Representatives from dozens of species watched from tiered seating. The Velkari delegation occupied a place of honor, led by matriarch Sevrana herself. She was impressive, larger than Cormira, her scales a brilliant crimson, her armor marked with honors from centuries of service. She looked at Cormira with undisguised contempt, then at Alex with something worse, dismissal. The proceedings were formal, ritualistic. The Velkari presented their case. Cormira was genetically Velkari, therefore subject to Velkari genetic sovereignty. Her bonding to a human was an aberration that should be annulled. Terra's legal representative, a sharp-eyed woman named Ambassador Tors, countered with Alex's argument. Cormira had been declared genetically incompatible with Velkari bonding by the Velkari's own standards. She existed outside their genetic sovereignty. Her bond to Alex was legitimate under Concordat law. The council deliberated. Hours stretched. Finally, the lead counselor spoke. The Concordat recognizes genetic sovereignty as paramount. However, we also recognize the validity of the bonding protocols. Cormira was officially declared unbondable to Velkari mates. Her subsequent bonding to Commander Rivera was legal and witnessed. Sevrana rose. Then we demand she be reevaluated. The original genetic screening may have been incomplete. Why now? Alex asked, his voice cutting through the chamber. You had decades to reevaluate her. You only want her back because she's valuable now, because she proved herself in combat, because she bonded successfully to a human, and that threatens your narrative of genetic supremacy. You speak out of turn, human. I speak for my mate, who your culture has tried to silence her entire life. Alex stood. Cormira, they want you to speak for yourself. What do you choose? Every eye in the chamber turned to her. She rose slowly, her full height impressive even among the giants present. When she spoke, her voice carried absolute conviction. I was born Velkari. I was raised Velkari. I trained as Velkari, and I was rejected by the Velkari as flawed and worthless. Her gaze fixed on Sevrana. My gene mother cast me out. 17 potential mates refused me. I was assigned 9th caste, a rank that does not exist, to mark me as beneath even the lowest of our society. The Concordat Council gave me to a human as punishment, expecting me to fail, expecting us both to be broken by the humiliation. She moved to stand beside Alex, her claw resting on his shoulder. Instead, I found a mate who values strength of character over genetic purity, who fights for his people rather than his status, who sees worth where others see only defect. I choose to remain bonded to Alex Rivera. I choose to stand with humanity, and I reject any claim the Velkari have over my life. The chamber erupted. Velkari delegates roared objections. Human observers cheered. Other species watched with calculated interest. Sevrana's voice cut through the chaos. You abandon your species for an inferior mate. You prove your defect. No. Cormira's crest flared. I prove that your definition of strength is flawed. You value purity over adaptability, tradition over innovation. You are stagnant, gene mother, and I am evolution. The word hung in the air, evolution. The thing the Velkari had tried to engineer out of their species. The chaotic, unpredictable force that had built humanity from persistence hunters to starfarers. The council counselor raised a manipulator for silence. The Concordat will take this matter under advisement. In the interim, the bonding between Commander Rivera and Cormira stands. No separation will be enforced pending final ruling. It wasn't a victory, but it was time. They were assigned temporary quarters on the governance station while the council deliberated. The space was utilitarian, designed for transient diplomats. Alex didn't care. He was simply glad to have privacy. Cormira stood at the viewport watching the stars. They will rule against us eventually. The Velkari have too much influence. Maybe, but we bought ourselves options. Alex joined her at the viewport. Tors has been in contact with me. Terra's government is considering a formal proposal to the Concordat, a new category of citizenship for bonded mates of mixed species, protection under shared sovereignty. That would be unprecedented. So are we. She turned to face him. In the dim light, her scales seemed to shimmer. Why are you doing this? You could request the bond be annulled, claim you were coerced. Terra would support you. Could you? What? Could you request annulment, walk away? Cormira's silence was answer enough. Finally, no, I have tried to imagine it, I cannot. Neither can I. Alex stepped closer. The gene bond is more than I expected. I feel you, Cormira. Your moods, your thoughts sometimes, and it's not just biological anymore. He paused, choosing words carefully. I care about you, as more than an ally, more than a political partner. Her claw cupped his face with impossible gentleness. Among my people, such feelings are considered weakness. Bonds are for genetic compatibility, not emotional attachment. Your people are wrong about a lot of things. Yes, she agreed, they are. She leaned down, he reached up. Their mouths met in a kiss that was awkward, then less so, then not awkward at all. The gene bond flared between them, carrying emotions too complex for words. Want, need, affection that had been growing in the spaces between their arguments and battles. When they parted, Cormira's breathing was unsteady. This changes things. Does it? Yes, because now I am not fighting just for freedom. I am fighting for this. For us. Alex smiled. Good, so am I. They spent the night together, not as punishment or political necessity, but as choice. And in the morning, when the council's summons came, they faced it as a unit that was far more than the sum of its parts. The final hearing was different. The chamber was packed. Word had spread across Concordat space. The human and his worthless Velkari mate were forcing the galaxy to confront uncomfortable questions about genetic sovereignty and species purity. But something had changed. The Velkari delegation was smaller. Sevrana was absent. In her place sat a Velkari Alex didn't recognize, older, her scales pale gold with age, her crest bearing markings of extreme rank. The lead counselor introduced her as Matriarch Prime Krelvara, eldest of the Velkari Genetic Council. Krelvara studied Cormira with eyes that missed nothing. I have reviewed the genetic data personally. The classification of Cormira as ninth caste and unbondable, the subsequent bonding to the human, and the combat records. A pause. I have also reviewed genetic archives dating back 3,000 cycles. Alex felt Cormira tense beside him. Cormira of no house, Krelvara continued, you are not defective. You are ancient. Your genetic sequence matches the Velkari progenitor lines, the original genetic stock from which all modern Velkari were derived. We thought these genes were lost to standardization. We were wrong. The chamber went dead silent. Your dark scales, your increased size, your incompatible pheromones, all are markers of the progenitor genome. You are not lesser than modern Velkari. You are the foundation upon which we built ourselves, and in our arrogance we declared you flawed. Sevrana's voice cut in from the gallery. This is heresy. This is fact, Sevrana. And your attempt to reclaim Cormira only after her value became apparent is noted and judged as opportunistic dishonor. Krelvara turned to the council. The Velkari Genetic Council formally withdraws all claims to Cormira. She is, as the human argued, genetically distinct. We recognize her autonomy. Alex felt Cormira's shock through the gene bond. This wasn't what they'd expected. However, Krelvara continued, I must note that the human Velkari bonding has produced unprecedented genetic compatibility. The gene bond readings show integration levels exceeding any recorded Velkari pairing. This suggests. She paused, choosing words. This suggests that genetic diversity, not purity, produces optimal bonding strength. It was a diplomatic earthquake. Krelvara had just acknowledged that the Velkari's entire genetic philosophy might be flawed. The counselor seemed at a loss. Finally, does the Velkari delegation support this position? The Genetic Council does. Political resistance is expected, but science does not bend to politics. Krelvara looked at Cormira again. You have earned the right to choose your path, progenitor-born. Choose wisely. Cormira stood. I choose Alex Rivera. I choose Terra. And I choose to be living proof that your old ways are dying. Krelvara's crest rose in what might have been approval. Then may your genetic line prove stronger than ours. They left the governance station as free citizens of the Concordat, their bond recognized and protected. But the real victory was quieter, more personal. Terra offered Alex a new command, a joint species tactical unit designed to handle situations requiring human adaptability and alien strength. Cormira was offered a position as combat specialist and genetic researcher. They accepted. On the transport back to Terran space, Cormira stood at the viewport, watching the governance station recede. They gave us freedom to be rid of a problem. We are still inconvenient. We're also still alive, still bonded, and now we have options. Alex joined her. That's more than we had when this started. When you were punished with me, you mean? Best punishment I ever received. She laughed, a sound he'd only recently started hearing from her. You are strange, Alex Rivera. You take humiliation and turn it into strength. It's a human thing. We're spite-driven as a species. I am learning this. Her tail curled around his waist, pulling him closer. What happens now? Now we show them what a human and a progenitor-born can accomplish together. We build something new. We prove that evolution beats stagnation every time. And if they try to stop us, Alex smiled. Then we remind them why humans are persistence hunters. We don't stop, we don't quit. We chase down every challenge until it breaks. Cormira's crest flared full and brilliant. I chose well. So did I. The gene bond hummed between them, warm and unbreakable. Below them, Terra grew larger in the viewport, blue and green and full of possibility. A world that would welcome a Velkari who'd been rejected by her own kind. A world that had built itself on the principle that strength came from diversity, not purity. They'd been given to each other as punishment. They'd forged themselves into something the galaxy wasn't ready for, and they were just getting started. 6 months later, the first joint human Velkari tactical team deployed to a border conflict. They were led by Commander Alex Rivera and combat specialist Cormira. The mission was successful. The team was terrifying. And across Concordat space, other species began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the humans had figured something out that the ancient powers had forgotten. Evolution doesn't ask permission. It doesn't follow rules. It simply finds what works and amplifies it. And nothing worked better than a bond freely chosen.